This is in response to Billy's talking points memo from Monday, June 8th, 2015, More Danger for Americans. Now, when you have a headline like that, More Danger for Americans, you can bet your bottom dollar that the only thing Billy wants to bring up in his talking points memo is fear, fear, fear. And what's that third thing? Fear, yes, because that's all that he has. Now, yesterday, President Obama was at the G7 summit meeting because they kicked out Russia. And President Obama made several comments. Number one, his comment was that they were still going to be diligent in working to try to get Russia to get out of the Ukraine. He also indicated very clearly that he did not think that the American Care Act should be overturned, and he gave some very good reasons why it should not be. And of course, I don't really know, maybe the justices might have voted on that, a month or two ago as to what they're going to do with it. They're just writing their opinions right now on it. And then the third thing he talked about, was which the right-wing world jumped all over, is that he clearly indicated and was very honest, is that the United States does not have a strategy because we do not have the confidence in, and we do not know the capabilities of our partner, especially Iraq, in the Middle East to help us get rid of ISIL and Daesh. This is very important because we have to realize we do not want to have any boots on the ground. We need to have Iraq step up and do what is necessary. There are a lot of things involved in this, but Billy doesn't want to talk about any of these things. And let's just mention a few. Is that but let's get Billy's fear out of the way. Billy's fear is that the strategy is delayed again, whereas Obama said we had a strategy a year ago. Well, the strategy is extremely hard to implement because our partners, especially Iraq, are not doing what is necessary. We have pounded them, we have scolded them, we have given them a lot of arms. They've just dropped their weapons and ran numerous times. We find out that people that are in the Iraqi army are paying some of their wages to their colonels and to their generals so that they don't even need to show up. And it's not the United States' fault. The United States was very diligent in telling them all about this stuff. But of course, Billy only wants to blame Obama on this. He only wants to blame Obama. He says, how can it be so hard to defeat 30,000 savages? So Obama must lack the will. Obama is apathetic to it. And soon ISIL, Daesh will be all over us in the United States, which is not true at all. Remember, they're landlocked. And let's go through a couple of things real quick. Is that number one, when there was a status of forces agreement that was signed by Bush in 2008, it said that we would be out of there in 2011. Remember, in 2011, Obama wanted to continue with the status of forces agreement. Al-Maliki was under a lot of political pressure, said, no, we can't do it. Once we got out of there, that al-Maliki continued with his alignment of a Shia theocracy, where they went after the Sunnis and when they went after the Kurds, and they did not do much to uphold their army. And remember, Obama would not sign the status of forces agreement if there was not amnesty for American soldiers, Navy men, airmen who were there. If there was any charges against them, that they would have to be tried in U.S. courts. And of course, Iraq didn't want that, so the United States says, hey, we better get out of here because we are going to protect our own. That's something that Billy never, ever mentions. And of course, things have been, Iraq has been doing most of the Shia theocracies. Since then, there's a lot of stuff going on in there. There's the Sunni, there's the Shia, there's Syria, there's the Kurds in Kurdistan. We got Turkey on the border, we got Saudi Arabia involved, we got a couple other countries involved. Every one of them has has a position on it. They all have what I would call their priorities. Their priorities may not all be what the United States is. It's obviously that the Sunni area, the Shia area of Iraq is not what we really wanted it to be, even though I understand al-Bani, the new guy, is heading a little bit more in that direction. But again, when we went in there in 2003, this was the type of powder keg. This was the type of unintended consequence that that a lot of people foresaw, and people like like Billy, no, just like Cheney, that we're out of there, we're good, they're going to have their own version of democracy, they're going to run it, we're going to get all kinds of oil and everything will be happy. And that didn't even come remotely close to being true. And Bush screwed up everything by not knowing anything about anything when we went in there. And of course, again, this is part of the unintended consequences. And of course, all Billy wants to do is blame Obama for being weak, for being apathetic, for not having the will to do what's necessary, and etc. Now, I just want to finish up on this thing. Again, I'm going to ask Billy, what do you think needs to be done, and how would you do it? Do we need 100,000 troops? I'd say I think we need 200,000 troops, because it's a large area, and then we're going to have to go in and take over Syria also. He doesn't want to talk about that. He just thinks we're going to send in 10,000 troops, we're going to take Mosul back, and that's not going to happen. And of course, you got to remember something else. These people, it's meaning ISIL, Daesh, this is what they want. This is the fight that they want. This is in their holy book. This is in the Quran. This is what they want. This is their Armageddon. They want this. Okay, we don't need to see any American die the same way that Jordanian died, especially a woman if they're putting women in the front lines. We don't need to see any of that. There has to be some type of functioning government in Iraq that takes care of the Shia, the Sunni, the Kurds, and other minorities, so that all of them have some type of representation, because that's not what we're seeing right now. There are so many things going wrong out there. Now, remember I said that we might as well take over Syria, because if we're going to go into Mosul, we're going to kick them out of northern Iraq, then they're just going to go into Syria and they're just going to metastasize again, as long as that thing's going on. So does Billy want to go into Syria? Does he want, how much time and money will that take? How many Americans are going to be lost? How many more arms need to be made? How much more drone work do we need to do? How many more Humvees? How many more tanks do we need to bring over there and send over there? What are we going to do about suicide bombers? What are we going to do about improvised road explosives, or whatever they were called? Improvised explosive devices, IEDs. How many men is it going to take that are going to die to do all this? How much money is it going to take? Are you willing to have the United States increase taxes so that we can defeat, as Billy would say, those savages that are over there? I'd like to see a detailed plan from Billy as to exactly what it would do, because we haven't seen anything remotely close to that from any one of the potential GOP candidates or the declared GOP candidates, because there's nothing else that they can do, anything greater than what Obama can do, except possibly maybe bomb a little bit more here and there. But again, remember, we have a lot of capability, but our bombing is not perfect. So we need to have eyes on the ground, and not necessarily boots on the ground. We need to have good information if we're going to be doing this type of thing. And again, all Billy wants to do is complain and complain and complain. And of course, at the end, he says all Obama cares about is climate change, social justice, and monetary redistribution. And of course, Obama is in the thick of it with this ISIL thing. We can't do it by ourselves. And I don't know where Billy is coming from. It really is crass. It just, the way he was talking yesterday, it was like he was mocking Obama, talking about how stupid he was. At the same time, it was just showing how utterly stupid and incompetent Billy must be to think that by deriding the President of the United States that things are going to change, and that he has a plan when he has absolutely no plan whatsoever.